Hey guys, it's T Pathfinder here, and I'm going to be profiling my Macro Monarch deck I took to my locals today. It's the first ever deck I played competitively, Macro Monarch, so I thought I'd give it a go again right now, because, you know, Macro is a pretty good card. So I took him to my locals, came 5th at Swiss. We did a top 8 cut. Unfortunately I played probably my worst matchup in top 8, which is Dino, because they don't really get hurt by Macro, because of course they can main it. So yeah, I lost to that. It's just a better control deck than this sometimes if it gets its cards, but you know, let's just get straight to profile. So of course we run a Triple D Survivor. He's basically your Tree-born Frog. It comes out during the end phase. He is great. No one, if you want to get rid of him like permanently, so you like bottomless him, then when he comes back torrential him, he dies because he won't come back again. You have to overextend to do that. No one did that today, so you know, unless they really want to get rid of him, no one really does that. But you know, next the Monarchs, Triple Caius, really good all day, and Double Visor. Again, Visor was also really good all day. I saw more Visor than Caius, weirdly enough. But if anything, I would cut one Visor just because sometimes it made the hand a little bit cloggy with too many Monarchs. But one, I would definitely always run one Visor in this build because it's just too good. Next, Double Thunder King. Does conflict a little bit with the macro in the deck, but just summoning Thunder King and like setting Solemn or something in the back row and then attacking, and just waiting until they evoke Extenders to get rid of Thunder King, or use power cards to get rid of it, and then play your macro D-Fisher. Can be really good. So yeah. Next, 2 Cyber Valley. You can play Kakatiz over this guy, but just because you play Mind Control of this, Mind Control Cyber Valley is too good, and it won me a few games. Just being able to get rid of their big monster with the Cyber Valley off, or a problem monster like Gachi or something that would possibly stall down, get answers, just Mind Control it, Cyber Valley. Next, Grand Mole, put in quite a bit of work today. Speed Whipper, not so much, but you know, Antimony also put in a lot of work today, so just good cards. Grand Mole gets rid of your big problems. Reaper is for stall, and Snowman is kind of stall, kind of destruction. And then finally, to finish off the monster, can play Triple Fader, because you can't really play hand traps in this. You can't play Gauze or anything because you're on the macro. So the Fader is just so good all day. With Monarch and Fader in hand, they attack, use Fader, and then Monarch does Monarch stuff. Spells, Dark Hole, Hailstorm, Double MST, no Reborn, because sometimes it would have been good, but most of the time there wasn't any like big monsters in the grave for me to get Reborn. Next, the Mind Controller took him out. Enemy Controller, if you get an enemy controller while you have a DD5 official Macro on the field, it can be pretty good. Enemy Controller was it was okay today. I liked it, but if I can find something that's better than it, I probably will cut Enemy Controller. And then I played Double D Fisher in the main. I played Double D Fisher, Double Macro, just because I felt that I wanted a little bit of diversity between Macro hitting a lot of things and D Fisher just being that instant from the hand. So I played Double D Fisher just for that. And then I played the 1 Seal of All Calcos. This card can be actually really good, just because of the fact that it can make your Monarchs 2-9 and your D5 is 2-3. It could just make everything really big, and there was multiple times today in that I had Cyber Valley and poked 500, and I won a game because I poked for game with, not for game, I poked him down to 300 with a Battle Fader, I believe. No, the thing was Cyber Valley, then Battle Fader with this on the field. So, you know, that was pretty funny. And then March of the Monarchs, I just played this over Lance because I didn't have a Lance. I probably should get some, but this is also really good as well. Didn't see too much play, so a Lance would probably better, but there's no real times I had it in hand for. Wish this was a Lance. Most of the times I was pretty good to go, and the only time this really was any good was against the Inzektor matchup, which this deck you should be pretty good at. For traps, we played the Sun Brigade, Double Torrential, Double Bottomless, Double Mirror Force. I play Mirror Force over Deep Prison because a lot of the time you have a macro on board. So Mirror Force basically does the same as Deep Prison, except it kills all the monsters. Next, double macro. It's macro Monarch, gotta play it. And then a Starlight Road, of course. So that's the main deck. Let's do extra before we do side. Of course, we've got one Starless Dragon for Starlight Road. This came out multiple times and just a really good card. Starlight Road, a few times I Starlight Road, they just scooped. That's a really good card. Slacker Magician. Basically, everything else in my deck didn't see play. Slacker Magician and Stardust Dragon were the only things that saw play. I made this against Exodia for a little bit more damage because I had 2 Battle Faders in hand, and Exodia doesn't do Battle Fader doesn't do anything against Exodia, so I just summoned the other one, Exceed, and Slacker Magician for 200 attack, and that was pretty funny. So yeah, there's some modes that just stuff it together. There's a Leviair, which it could be pretty good, but you never really make any of this. Leviathan, Tempo, Zen Mains, Acid Golem for freeze, for 4s, Abyss Dweller, Maestroke, Pearl, Black Shipcorn, Shotmaster. Utopia was the other XYZ I made. Yeah, I made it against Dino Rabbit just because I needed to get over a Dolka. And then Swordbreaker, this probably should be a Strike Bouncer, but I didn't get one today. Gaia Dragoon just for that mind control, and Bluff and Gauze. And side, MST. Double Smashing. Soltech isn't really needed because most of the things that you want to miss timing have to go to the grave anyway, so it gets banished. The third Fisher. Traps. Double Rivalry. Didn't slide this in all day. I'm probably going to cut it, but I just needed something else for the side. Deck devs. I did slide it in, but it didn't see play. Again, the theory is that you tribute Caius or you tribute a Survivor while Seal's on the field. Then double Mind Crush. This saw play. This was my downfall, my Exodia matchup, but I'll speak about that later. But Mind Crush, it was pretty good. It won me a game and it lost me a game. 2 Dust Tornado, this was very good as well. Sided in against a lot of things. The third macro sided in against a lot of things. Duck Vibe didn't side in at all, but it's just there in case they just sided in a lot of back row hate. And the Phoenix Chain sided in against a lot. So my matchups were, first round was Sea Lancer, Frogs with Psydra and Slushies. And I 2-0'd that. Basically macro just hurts the deck. Macro days basically didn't do anything game 1. I just managed to drop multiple monsters on him. Battle Fader saving me. And game 2 I macroed and defissured. I defissured then macroed, and I had Starlight for his heavy, so he scooped them. Round 2 I played against, if I can remember, I believe round 2 was against Exodia. That was Pewsley playing Exodia, and basically game 1 I lost. Game 2 I won because I mind crushed his Exodia piece. Game 3 he had 4 pieces of Exodia in hand. I mind crushed, called Exodia Forbidden One. He Gemini imped and then drew the last piece of Exodia. So there's not much I could have done there, but unfortunately mind crush was my downfall. Game 3 I played against having trouble remembering. Game 3 I'll come back to game 3. Game 4 was against Dino Rabbit, and I went 2-1 against that. Game not much to say on that. That was probably the worst matchup for this deck, so, you know, yeah. And finally, 5 was against Inzektors, which I 2-0'd because game 2 just didn't open anything, and game 1 I had the macros and stuff. Game 3, what was game 3? I can't even remember what game 3 is. I'll try and post in the comments down below, comments in the description down below. Yeah, but anyway, and then in top 8 I played against Macro, and yeah, it was a very close game, but Macro won. So anyway guys, this has been Tournament Report 1 of my Macro Monarch. Like, comment, subscribe, and peace.